All right, everybody. Thursday night after a big week. I hope everyone's feeling well rested. Excited that tomorrow's Friday, and even more excited that the day after that is Saturday. Third and final session workshop in our virtual workshop series with Sue Jackson. Today, we're going to take a look at one of my personal favorites. I think it's one of the most fun digital resources that we have, and it's called Scholastic's Shared eReading, and it's based on the big books and the shared reading pieces from Literacy Place for the early years. And it's multimedia. The real joy that this brings is from the music. So quite a few of the titles do come with songs, and it's from all kinds of different genres. So it's not just that Barney kind of na 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 dun, 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 which you'll get sick of before it even starts. Really, it's reggae, it's hip hop. There's rock, there's country. There's all kinds of different things that are actually good music. So I'll play some of those for you just off the hop here, and then we'll get. I'll introduce Sue, and we'll get going. So before we get started, let's test out that chat box and see where everyone is tuning in from. If you just want to write your city and province, that would be great. And as you do that, I do add a little disclaimer just to let everyone know that the session is being recorded, and any questions or comments that you make in the chat box are public for everyone to see. So Sue's going to be presenting, but I'm going to do my best to answer all of your questions. At the end, if there's some like teacher strategy, educational strategy, pedagogy questions, we'll see if Sue has time to answer them. I'm also going to post a link to our friendly Scholastic Education reps, so you can find the rep in your area and contact them if you want more information about any of our digital resources, or you'd like to order. And just a note that you can use your Scholastic credits to purchase our digital resources as well. And so this is our third night together in a row, so I feel like we know each other, but I should probably introduce myself. My name is Sean Campbell, and I'm the Digital Resources Manager for Scholastic Education. After this session is over, everyone will be sent a follow-up email, and in that email, you'll have a link to the recording and a short questionnaire that will give you a chance to win a virtual door prize, which is pretty nice. And remember to like this YouTube page, and you can follow me on Twitter at Campbell Online. If I can pull it up here. Where is it? At Campbell Online. There it is. Now I found it. Follow me on Twitter, and we'll have all of the information on upcoming virtual workshops for you. And of course, more information on anything and everything Scholastic Education. Okay, so right before I introduce Sue, I'm just going to show you just a quick demo of shared eReading. So let's take a look. So shared eReading is really easy to, really easy to use. It's really easy to implement into your classroom and into your district. And you'll see it's K-3, and we have a number of different titles, fiction and nonfiction, different text types. I'm going to go Little Turtle because it is my favorite. If you've been to any of our other virtual workshops, you've probably heard this playing in the background while you're waiting for the session to get started. So you can groove to those tunes. I know you'll be tapping your toe to that tomorrow for sure. But all the music is a cut above what you get from a lot of children's productions. So videos or books. It's excellent. So you see some of the kindergarten titles. Also into grade 2, there's some excellent stories. You'll see a lot of diverse cultures represented. The 10 best things about Canada. There's lots of numeracy. There's lots of numeracy connections that you can do as well. And there's grade 3. So just a lot of excellent titles. Along with the songs, you're going to get an audio read aloud. There are teacher support, teacher guides, lesson plans. There's videos. There's all kinds of really fun supports that are built right into this resource, as well as them just being really fun, great books. So that's Literacy Place, shared e-reading in a nutshell. And obviously Sue is going to go much, much deeper and take a look at all that it has to offer. So let's introduce Sue. All right, so let me get to my... Sue Jackson is a passionate advocate for empowering teachers and students with her ability to ground pedagogy in authentic and practical classroom applications. Sue has extensive experience from the classroom to the school board level, working in literacy education, inquiry-based learning, and early years pedagogy. Sue has worked on many teaching resources for scholastic education, including Literacy Place for the early years, and has served as a national literacy consultant, providing professional development for teachers, administrators, and school districts across Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Sue Jackson. Hi there, Sue.
Hello, Sean.
Good to see you once again.
Great to be here for my third night. That's fabulous.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn this over to you, and if you need anything, just let me know.
Okay. So I am coming to you from London, Ontario, so my broadcast studio in my home office. And I'm just going to share my screen. If Sean can pop it up for me, that's perfect. And there we go. It's coming, it's coming. There we go. A-okay? So in my part of the presentation tonight then, Sean gave us a little overview of shared e-reading, and it's a really fun digital product. And so in my part, we're going to look at ways to make shared reading experiences for your students fun and engaging, but also focused on literacy learning. So this session is intended for those people or educators who have a subscription perhaps for shared e-reading. However, if you're here to learn more about this digital product prior to purchasing, that's absolutely fantastic. So welcome to those of you, just let me click here. So welcome to those of you who are watching us live, that's fabulous. And then also for those of you who are going to watch the recorded version, welcome. We'll look at the use of shared reading, shared e-reading in both virtual and in-person classrooms, because that's what the state of education is at the moment. As I mentioned, I am coming to you from my home office in London, Ontario. My office actually looks quite similar to my little Google Classroom here, obviously minus the whiteboard. And because this is my home office, just a little note of warning. You may hear the odd little bark or some whimpering from outside my office door because we have a lovely little 4-month-old adorable puppy named Tia, who actually has become my shadow. And normally when I work in my office, Tia sleeps at my feet. So she's a little upset about not being included in the room tonight. So tonight we are talking about making optimal use of your Literacy Place for the early years shared e-reading. So many of you may have used the Literacy Place Big Books and some of the other materials for shared reading in your virtual or in-person classroom. And now with shared e-reading, the teaching possibilities and engagement opportunities are really heightened. So let's take a look at comprehensive literacy overall. So within that comprehensive literacy program, shared e-reading helps us with the teaching of small group shared reading and whole group shared reading. And the other thing about the shared e-reading pieces is that we are connected to writing and working with words. So I'll show you some of that as we go through the session today. So a big part when we plan literacy lessons, engagement is a huge piece, and especially for those of you who are working in that virtual environment. So this quote from Jennifer Savelio, Connecting with Students Online, is her text. She talks about methods really matter. So how you actually present content, and how do you keep kids learning in an active way, and how do you keep things social, and then providing regular opportunities to interact with students to help them engage. So a lot of what we're going to do tonight is really focusing around that. How do you use your shared e-reading, and how is it going to help you with engagement and interactivity? So I thought I would start with taking a look at text that actually enhances engagement. So the Literacy Place materials, the shared e-reading, there are so many materials within that collection at each grade level. And this is an example from grade 2, one of my favorites, the 10 Best Things About Canada. And I think that just even the text, when we present the text, that in many cases, this text is so engaging for kids. So if you think about the 10 Best Things About Canada, and this child-written book, supposedly, is really focusing in on what this person thinks are the 10 best things about Canada. Now, I'm not sure I'd agree with this first choice, but obviously the child feels that snow is a big deal. And at this point, the text is actually written in a really thought-provoking way, because there's lots of questions, lots of great photos, and then the addition of the chart there, or the graph, sorry, and how we read that graph. And I was really interested to note that in Toronto, where I live close to, we actually have annual snowfall, which is greater than in Winnipeg, where my relatives live. And they always tell me that they have way more snow. The other thing about thought-provoking text within the shared e-reading, if you take a look at this particular piece from the 10 Best Things, here's a way that it's been written so that we're looking at inventors, so people in Canada that have great ideas. And we have 3 examples and what those people have actually done. And then the other part that I think kids would find really intriguing, are the way it's set up is that we have 6 inventions, but we don't know about who invented those. So I think that this would really lead to a lot of inquiry and research around those things. So again, the text has been written and it's highly engaging for kids because of the way it's written and the photographs that have been used. So another feature that helps with engagement and interactivity is the read along. And so the text is actually read and highlighted as it's being read. And the interesting part about this for kids is that this provides another voice. So this is another voice besides your voice reading it. And all of the voices are, lots of different voices throughout with different types of text, just like with the music. So it brings that other additional piece of engagement for kids as well. So as Sean pointed out, the music within the shared e-reading is highly engaging. Kids want to get up and dance in a lot of times because of the different types of music as well. So you click the music button and lots of poetry has it, but there are a lot of other songs within the materials as well. Another piece this is from the book that Sean highlighted, The Little Turtle, which is a kindergarten book. Within the ebooks that are created with artwork, there have been short animations added. And I'm I have just sort of screen captured some things so you can see it here. So the turtle obviously is snapping at a mosquito, and you see the mosquito sort of at the tip of his mouth. And then in the actual interaction, the mosquito flies out and comes back, and we can click, it continues until we click the button to stop that. So for some children, that little bit brings them back in focus as they're sitting there in kindergarten, and helps focus them and isn't as very engaging. Now, one of the features that I think is just fabulous is the nonfiction text. Many of those have had animation added to them. And Move Like the Animals is a great one at grade 1. And you can tell when there's animation. We've got the little computer screen up at the top there. And the text says, how do you feel when you tiptoe like a cat? And one of the things that we want kids to do is move. So this is a type of movement book as well. So lots of interactivity there. And as we play the video, we're going to see, and I'm sorry I don't have it live, but this is sort of a screen capture of what's happening. So we have a Siamese cat here who is actually sneaking through the garden. And so children study this, and then when they go to do the movements, they're going to see the actual cat and be able to copy that. So again, animation, fabulous. This is another one that I thought was great. This is from a grade 2 text, which is called Explore. It's Explore Magazine, and it's about water. So this is an article about a little girl, Sana, who actually goes to a water pump to get fresh water. She has to walk twice a day to the village to get water. Now, it's really interesting. I have shared this with grade 2 students, and the interesting part is that they really have never seen a water pump actually work. So if you click on the video camera there, it comes up very short. You can see it's not very long, but you can see, we actually see how someone using a water pump. So the animation features really help with the understanding of the text. Now, the other piece that's part of the shared e-reading materials are interactive tools. So these interactive tools have been built right in. So if you're working on a smart board, you don't have to access those things. We've got them right there. If I'm working from my computer at home, I've got all of these built in for me. So you can see the two features there. The interactive tools are a pen, and there are 3 different colors that you can use for that, and also a sticky note. So I can highlight specific things in the text. This particular text is from the grade 3 collection, 3 Easy Steps to Getting a Dog, and how this particular little guy is going to go about convincing his family that they need a dog. Something I had to do really long and hard to convince my husband that we needed a dog. And again, here's the sticky note. And I can use the sticky note for a variety of different reasons, to highlight vocabulary, all kinds of things. The other thing about the engagement in interactivity with shared e-reading is that a lot of the text is actually very interactive. So this is from the grade 2 book, Between Friends, and it is part of oral language to work on oral language. So the poems for 2 voices are really interesting because we've got in black there, voice 1, and in green is the little mouse talking, and in green is voice 2. So now my class can be very interactive because we can read, half the class can read voice 1, the other half can read voice 2. I can have individual children read voice 1 and voice 2 during our shared reading. So there's lots of interactivity that way. And then another piece that's been built into the teaching plans are movement ideas. So here's a way for especially those students who are at home in their in a virtual environment. Movement is a really important piece, and we want to include that, get them up out of their chairs and moving a little bit. So many of the teaching plans have those kind of movement ideas. So for the poem read, which comes from the grade 3 text, A Curious Case of Poetry, you're going to see this is right from the teaching plan. There is music to go along with this particular text, fabulous. And then we replay and we actually add all the actions. So a little bit of quality daily phys ed, we get up and we're moving a little bit. And so it's highly interactive for students as well. So those are some of the things that are part of the literacy place for the early years shared e-reading, and how do we use all of those to promote fun and engaging reading experiences for students. So we're going to start by looking at small group shared reading. So just to get everybody on the same page, just so we know, this is an approach that you could use in kindergarten and grade 1. It's a small group approach, which kind of mirrors what we do in a whole group shared reading, but I'm working with a very small group of children. So that means that in my shared reading, we're going to read out loud together. Very different than working in a small group with a guided reading group. These are children who need to focus on early literacy skills or the print concepts. So it's that transitional teaching approach that allows you to narrow and focus instruction for children. Why would I want to use small group shared reading? It promotes confidence in reading, it develops those print concepts, it builds vocabulary, and it also stimulates oral language development. So really important piece for us to use with children who are in that transition before they actually start a guided reading session. So in a virtual classroom, I would have the text on my screen, on my computer screen, and my little ones are watching that. And in in-person classroom, I might have the text on my smartboard and then bring children up closer to the smartboard to read. Or I might have children who have iPads, and if I have enough iPads for a small group, I might have them with their iPads, and then they would be reading from their iPad instead. So let's take a look at choosing a text for a small group shared e-reading. I've gone to the kindergarten collection, and this is one of my very favorites. And because I have a puppy, I thought, oh, this is an engaging one. So I take a look at the teaching plans, and you notice that the teaching plans that accompany the shared e-reading pieces often have that little statement off to the side that tells you here's a way to engage kids. So this ebook includes a video on each page. So that's something important for me to be thinking about as I plan my lesson. And you're going to see that the lessons start with a before, during, and after sequence, and then that engagement is built in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, and I have to stop sharing my screen and then move to a video. But what I want you to do, we're going to watch Lindsay. This is Lindsay Jackson. She is working with, this is my daughter-in-law, by the way, and she is working with a very small group. She has 3 children. They're all in different homes. And she's working with this particular group with this text, My Puppy. And what I want you to watch for as we're doing this, as I'm getting things set up, I want you to be thinking about what does Lindsay do? What kinds of things does she do to engage the students with the text? What kinds of behavior techniques does she use? And what are the before, during, and after strategies? So I am going to stop sharing my text and move to just give me a minute here, and I'll move to my video file.
Read a book today in our reading group, and it's called My Puppy. It's an ebook, and it's written by Anne Brailsford. Now, I know Max and Miles and Zoe, you don't have a puppy at home, do you?
Well, we do, just at a different house. It's named Cloze.
Okay, perfect. And Zoe, you know somebody that has a puppy, right, Zoe?
Can I draw the patterns again?
Well, we're not going to do that. So Max, what I want you to draw, good Zoe, good. I want you to each draw 2 things on your whiteboard that you think a puppy needs. So 2 things that you think a puppy needs. What's in your picture?
So here's the doggy.
Okay.
And here's the dog food. And here's the puppy.
Perfect. And then Zoe?
And here's the water. I do the water. Somebody spilled water.
I love it, Max. I love your pictures. You're such a good illustrator and artist. Zoe, can you show us your whiteboard of your pictures and what you drew? So now it's Zoe's turn to talk. So now we'll listen to Zoe.
Good job.
Go ahead, Zozo.
Okay.
All right, so Max and Miles are watching you just like I am. All right, what did you draw, Zoe?
So this is the food and the water, and that's a dog.
Okay, excellent. So Zoe drew food and water and a dog. I have how Zoe's looking at the book and Miles is. Boys and girls, when we get to a word, Max, that we don't know in the book, what should we look at to help us? Zoe, what should we look at to help us?
Look at the picture.
Yeah, Miles and Max and Zoe, we're going to look at...
I want to look at the words.
Yep, look at the words, and if you get stuck, we can look at the picture. So, Max, what do you see on the cover of the book?
Can't see the book. Well, I see somebody with a doggy.
You see somebody with a doggy. Zoe, what do you see on the cover of the book?
A doggy and a little girl hugging the doggy.
Good. And Miles, do you see the book, my love?
No.
No?
This is it, Miles. This is it.
Yeah, it's the one with the puppy. Okay, so boys and girls, we're going to read the book, and it's like a pattern book. It says the same thing, except there's a word on each page, and we need to look at the picture or the little inset on the side, okay? All right, so eyes on the screen, Max. The first page says, my puppy needs... Does anybody know what that word is? What does the puppy need?
Now I can see the book.
Good. So looking at the picture, what do we think that word is?
Food and water.
Good. So Zoe, you see food in one picture and you see water in the other?
Yeah.
Max, what do you see in the picture? Food and water? Okay, so the first page says, my puppy needs food. Very good job looking at the pictures to help us. And the next page says, my puppy needs water. Do you guys think you can read that with me? Do you want to get out your reading finger? Okay, let's get it out, Max. Let's start on the first one. My puppy needs food. And then we do, my puppy needs water. Good, I see those together, Max. Okay, now we have our last few pages. So get your eyes out, Mr. Max. Look at that dog in the picture. Max, what does the dog have in his mouth? A bone. Zoe, what do you think the doggy has in his mouth?
A toy bone.
A toy bone. And Miles, what do you think the doggy has in his mouth?
A bone.
A bone. It does look like a bone, doesn't it? You know what? There's this little video I can click on. Let's see what it looks like in the video. Let's see if you guys can see it. Let me try clicking on it for you.
That's a dragon. That looks scary if I was a dragon.
Now,
That looks scary if I was a stuffed animal.
I heard you say dragon. It was a dragon. Was that a toy or was that a bone?
A toy.
A toy. So if we use our eyes and we look at this page and we read it together, let's point to the words. I think it says, my puppy needs a... Well, it looks like a bone, but remember in the video we decided that that's a toy. was awesome. So remember, what did we look at today if we needed help with a word? Do you remember, Max? Zoe said the picture. So we always use the pictures if we get stuck on a word. Thumbs up if you like that book today, My Puppy.
Okay, so I'm going to start sharing again my PowerPoint. And while I'm doing that, I want you to think about what were the ways that Lindsay engaged the students in the lesson, maybe some of the behaviors, techniques that she used, and then what did she do before, during, and after. So I'm going to go back to my screen. Go. There we go. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the little video. We kind of cut things out. Adorable little group there that she was working with. They're kindergarten students, and this was actually filmed in early October, just so you know the context of that. And these three little ones are now reading level D text on their own. So they have moved from doing small group shared reading to guided reading, and they have made huge progress. And Lindsay attributes some of that progress to the fact that they some of the things they've done in their small group shared activities as well. So how do we know students were engaged? So I hope you were thinking about that. Some of the engagement techniques that she used were connecting with students individually. They had whiteboards at home to draw their predictions. So they're making predictions and drawing them. And then she had them all share their drawings. So in a small group, that's easily done. She had them using their reading finger to track the words on their screen, and the questioning and engaging students in the text. And then obviously the use of the video. So there's a video on every page there. So she could have used she used it actually a few times, but she was using it to confirm a word there. So the students' behaviors, we saw them sharing ideas and thoughts, and they're very young children, sharing their drawings and predictions, reading aloud, and they were really excited when they figured out words. So some of the behavior techniques that she was actually using were very subtle. So, things like if you're working in a virtual environment, it's not quite as easy as it is in a classroom. So it's things like those little subtle prompts that help. So let's all look at Max. Now is Zoe's turn to talk. Now we'll all listen to Zoe. Just always prompting the behavior that you're expecting. Max and Miles are watching just like I am. It's Miles' turn. We'll all listen to Miles. Zoe's looking at the book, and Max is too. So prompting Miles to do so as well. And then before, during, and after reading, so Lindsay had them, she was connecting with her students right away, activating prior knowledge. They were drawing on their whiteboards and then making predictions. And she actually had on her whiteboard writing down what they thought they were going to see in the text. And then during reading, they all read the text aloud together. They're finger pointing, so trying to track words, guessing and confirming words using the pictures. And that's really what her focus was for this. That's her intent, her focus for the lesson. And then afterwards, she reviews the text in sets. She goes back to return to their predictions to confirm. They add some pictures to their whiteboard. They do a little bit of spelling, and then review of the learning focus. So going back, we saw a little bit of that. So all of those things that you saw in the video, those were part of the teaching plans for the shared e-reading. So very easy to kind of pull out the things that are important for her students from the actual teaching plans. And for shared small group shared e-reading, lots of great text. Sean's favorite, the little turtle, would be fabulous for a small group. Do You See Colors is another great one. See What We Can Do. So I just pulled out a few of the kindergarten ones, but there are also some at grade 1 that would be highly suitable for small group shared e-reading. So now let's get to the part where we look at shared reading. So what is shared reading? Just so we're all on the same page. It's that really supported reading experience when we're all reading a common text at the same time. And the teacher, I start off reading and invite children to read along with me. Usually the text is higher than what most students would be able to read independently. When you plan your instruction, you plan based on the needs of the readers, based on your curriculum outcomes or expectations as well. So kind of putting those two things together. The shared reading should be maximum 10 to 15 minutes in duration. And part of the reason for that, we want it to be short, sharp, and shiny. Short, 10 to 15 minutes long. Sharp, it's really focused. We take one real focus per day. And then shiny means that we are all involved in reading and understanding this great piece of text. So what we're going to do is read the text several times over a week. So a text that is, for many children, frustrational level text becomes text that they can read with fluency, expression, and with understanding by the end of the week. So why do we use shared reading? It creates this community through shared texts that become anchors. And many of these texts, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, are what we call mentor texts. It develops reading and oral language skills, and then the great connections to writing. And the biggest one is it promotes student confidence. So what would it look like in an in-person classroom? So a shared e-reading, I would have my smartboard and then projecting the text, and my students wouldn't be quite as close in today's classroom as these children, but they could be sitting at their desks or they could be sitting at the carpet, spaced out on the carpet as well. What does shared reading look like in a virtual space? And this is where it might be a bit different. So the text, you can see I've got the text up on my computer. And one of the things that would happen in a virtual space is I would actually have the students mute their mics. Although I want them all, we want to be reading together, and I do invite them to join in with me. They read aloud in their own personal space. And the reason for that is because having tried this with adults and children online, it's really difficult. 3 children, it worked out really well, but it's very difficult sometimes just with bandwidths and things, and children are reading and we don't all read at the same time. It's not all coming in at the same time. We're not hearing it at the same time. So it might be easier to do that and then maybe have some smaller groups unmute and read together. So that's what it might look like in that virtual space. So I also included here for you a schedule for a literacy block in a virtual environment. So you can see shared reading done on a daily basis. And I often do that whole group after the children have done individual work and I've been working with small groups. So we're back to that after they've done some movement and things too. So I thought it best to actually take a text and go through the text, that a 5-day plan, to show you what that might look like, but also using all of the great tools and features of the shared e-reading and how that makes the text come to life and engages children. So the text that I'm choosing is from the grade 3 Curious Case of Poetry. And it's the poem Bandit on page 3. And then I access the teaching plan as well online. And I'm going to use this teaching plan to create a 5-day plan. Now, one of the things you have to take a look at is, if you look at the teaching plans, you're going to see that it'll say first reading, it might say second reading. And then oftentimes it'll say third reading and other opportunities. I like to do it over 5 days so that I can keep it short, sharp, and shiny, and have that focus per day, and we reread over those 5 days. So my weaker students become much more confident over time. The lessons always go through that before, during, and after reading section. So every one of the lessons is going to have that. So let's take a look at the very first day. So day one with this particular text, it's all about activating prior knowledge and introducing the text. So that's my focus. And what we're going to do, the teaching plans ask me to have the children make some predictions. So one of the things we're going to do is actually have them really look at the illustration to make their prediction. So I click on the little arrow button there. And when I click on the arrow button, the pen and the sticky note pop up, and I'm going to use the sticky note. And all you do is touch on the sticky note and drag it so that I can cover, because the teaching plan said to me, the text should be covered. And so we're really looking at the illustration, and we have a discussion about, and they can turn and talk to each other. In a virtual environment, it might be a whole group that we talk about. Who are the characters? Who do you think the characters are in this text? What do you think they're doing? So we have a little discussion about that. And then I actually show them, uncover just the title. And we talk about the word bandit and what that means. And then why do you think the title is appropriate? Or why not? And so we have a discussion about that. And then every lesson that we do has to have a purpose for reading. So this particular, on day one, our lesson is going to be, why do you think the poet called the dog a bandit? And so we go through, that's what they're going to be thinking about as we read. So when we actually read the text, I have options here, as pointed out earlier. So I can read it myself, or I can have the read-along read it for me. And you can see as the read-along reads, it highlights the text so the children can follow that as well. It's something like a pointer. In this particular instance, I want to read it. I'm going to start with that. So I start reading aloud and have the children join in as they're comfortable. One of the things we do during the reading is also take a look at vocabulary. So we might read it completely through the first time, and then we'll go back and we'll read it again on the first day as well. And we'll talk about some of these words that they might not understand as we read through it for a second time. And then after reading, you always go back to your purpose for reading. So our purpose was to find out about why do we think the author refers to the dog as a bandit, and what evidence can you provide from the poem or the illustration. Fabulous question at grade 3 level. We need to be starting to, continuing to find evidence to prove what we're thinking. And then do a little action here. We might do a little role play with Bandit's owners and how they would react to finding all of their missing stuff in Bandit's bed. So there's day one. And then day two, my focus is different. We're going to focus on interpreting the text. So we start off with, again, maybe some things that might have tricked a few of them as we were reading. So some difficult vocabulary phrases. Bandit in disguise or keeps his loot. So we'll talk about those terms. And then I explained that the poem's been set to music. And what kind of music do you think would be suitable for this text? So interesting question. And then today, we think about what actions that we could do for this song. So I give them some examples, and then that's what they're going to be doing. So we're going to listen. They can sing along. I'm going to play it more than once. And in the teaching plans, just to let you know, in the teaching plans, it says to play the music the first day. And I always like to sort of save the music sometimes so that we work together to sort of understand the text, and then we do the music. So we're thinking of actions. So I just clicked the song, and I'm sorry, I don't have it live right now, but the music's fabulous. And then afterwards, we revisit the purpose for listening and singing, and then we create this list of actions together, and then we replay the song, and the kids get to sing along and perform the actions. So very, very engaging music. Again, we've got the kids that way, and we're performing the actions that they came up with and acting out the text. So on day 3, before reading, we are going to, the focus today is interpreting visual images. And so we discuss how using illustrations help a reader to better understand a text. So those are the questions. So we're thinking about the cat and Bandit and maybe why he took those items. So our purpose is thinking about what might happen to Bandit and what do the items actually tell us about that items that Bandit took, tell us about the people in this house. And today I would use the read along feature and to engage the kids that way. So we've read it twice, and we've listened to the song, and we've been singing along. Now they get to hear a different voice actually read it. And then after reading, we go back to those questions. And we do a little bit of brainstorming at the end here as well, and come up with a list of ideas about what other things Bandit might take and why. And then another piece that connects our shared reading is so important. So shared e-reading, very, very important part of your day, because we can also connect to word work. So one of the things we're working on here is rhyming words. How do you know that 2 or more words rhyme? So for grade 3, that's a very easy answer. And then what is a rhyme pattern? And so we start talking rhyme, R-I-M-E, and we come up with a list of words for the add rhyme. And why is it important to know the particular rhyme? So we identify the words that rhyme. Do they have that same rhyme pattern? That's their purpose for reading today. And during reading, we'll all read together. And then after reading, the children are helping me. We're going through finding the rhyming words. You can see you can use the pen feature to do that. And then also use the pen feature. It's quite easy to use it to actually write on your screen. So we can list other rhyming words, and you can see a great discussion to like the number of ways that words rhyme and how they're spelled. The other cool part about that too is if I click clear all of that disappears. So day 5 in this plan, we're going to create an additional stanza. So this is connecting it to writing. And we go back to the list, and it's actually created on day 3. And we create, after the word rope, we're going to create this other stanza. We do it together before we start. Then we read, including the stanza. So you can see we've included, here's what we've written. And this is an example taken right out of the teaching plan. So if your kids can't come up with something, there's something that you could add as well. And then now we do the actions. We create actions for that. That's their purpose when we're reading, and we go back and reread it. And we could even play the music and sing the song and add our piece to it. So this is what a 5 days, very difficult to read here. If you actually wanted this, I actually have, you can email me and I'll send it to you. So the shared e-reading 5-day plan, this is what it would look like. So always, all I've done is taken the teaching plans and picked and chosen certain things and put them in place based on sort of the needs of my class as well. So think about some of the engaging things that we did. So we used the pen, we used the read-along feature, we used the music to engage students and make it fun, the sticky note feature. So a lot of the things that are part of the shared e-reading, we've used those. Now, the other engagement ideas, and these ones I'm going to demonstrate with the book. This is from kindergarten called Helping Grandma. So another way to use the sticky notes is, and this is fabulous, is to create cloze passages. So cloze passages are where children have to guess what word would make sense. So each of those, so definitely from the pictures, they could come up with a word. If I wanted to, I could even move the sticky note over a tad so I could show the beginning consonant or vowel, and they could guess from there as well. So fabulous way to actually build in understanding of words and some phonemic awareness and the idea of meaning. So great way to do that. Again, phonemic awareness ideas. This is a great text. I think this one is from grade 1. And again, we're still working on rhyming words with grade 1. And you can see I can underline the word, and then the students, the word is hidden. And all I have to do to get rid of that sticky note is to click on, there's a little X at the top, I click that and it will disappear so the kids can see. But we could also figure out that, you know, there's more than one answer that I could put there perhaps. So my other piece that I wanted to talk to you about that is really, really important in shared e-reading is that connection to writing. So engaging ideas that promote enthusiasm for writing. So this is one of my very favorite books. It's from the grade 2 collection. And I have used this particular book with in classrooms with children. And I think they find the idea, the question itself, highly engaging. So should children choose their bedtimes? And I was explaining to Sean that as I started looking into this one on the shared e-reading, I was most intrigued by the book because I thought now when I use it as a shared e-reading, it has great power for children. So I'm going to ask Sean, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to ask Sean if he'll pop it up for us.
You bet. And you want to hear the
We want to hear the read along. Mm-hmm.
Should children choose their bedtimes? By Tony Stead, with Mrs. Cropley's grade 2 class. Illustrations by Cindy Revelle. Photographs by Lauren Chapman.
Next page.
Introduction. Hi, we're in grade 2 at St. Dorothy Catholic School, and our teacher is Mrs. Cropley. We have been having lots of discussions about bedtimes with our friend Tony. There are kids in our class who can stay up late if they want to. There are kids in our class who have to be in bed by a certain time.
Can you click to the next page?
Think that should children choose their bedtimes? Some of us think that children should go to bed when they want to. We are going to tell you why.
Look at the thought bubble below. It reads, these kids are going to make the yes arguments.
Okay, we can stop right there.
Children should go.
So you can see just the addition of the, well, I can just leave it right there. Just the addition of that voice makes that particular text really great for kids. It makes it alive and real. And this is a mentor text. It becomes a mentor text for writing. And I'm just going to share with you just that last piece here, just to show you if you haven't seen this one. I'll get it yet. There we go. So I'll just show you, we saw the introduction, and lovely that it's read by children, because all of a sudden it becomes real. And so you'll see throughout the book, there's various arguments. There's the yes side of the argument, and there's the no side of the argument. So parents should choose, children should choose. And there's a number of arguments all the way through. And then there's this thinking about the argument. So again, there are a lot of questions throughout the text. So all of a sudden kids are engaged with that. Do you think children should choose their own bedtimes based on the evidence or the sides that we've heard? What side do you think? And then, so we've summarized. So there's a whole page where the arguments are summarized so the kids can read through that. And then the other part is that huge connection to writing. So this becomes our mentor text, and the children in this classroom even provided some great ideas about writing a good argument, how you do that. So fabulous persuasive text for children at a grade 2 level. However, we also, in the Scholastic Shared eReading, there are many, many fabulous mentor texts for all the different types of writing. So this is just one example. And I think this is very highly engaging. So just to summarize what we've done tonight, we've looked at the engaging text and interactive features of the shared e-reading. We've looked at small group shared e-reading in a virtual environment, and with the teacher ensuring that young students were engaged and excited about reading text. We've demonstrated how to incorporate engagement, interactivity, movement into both virtual or in-person classrooms through that 5-day shared e-reading plan. And then we've looked at the important connection to writing. So we really thank you for joining us. If you have any questions about the pedagogy, please do ask them now. And if you need to get in touch with me, there's my email, my Gmail. And please do follow me on Twitter. So
Thank you so much, Sue. Fantastic as always. Just so everyone knows, I have put that link to your Scholastic Education reps in the chat as well. So if you do have any questions about any of our digital resources, or of course shared e-reading, or if there's anything you can't remember and want a copy of the video, yeah, definitely just touch base with your local rep. We are going to be sending everyone a thank you for coming email that has links to the recordings of all 3 sessions that Sue has done this week. And there's also that feedback form. So if you can fill that out and send it back, you have a chance at a door prize. So that'll be a great way to end the week. So yeah, thank you again, Sue. To Sue and to everyone, have an amazing rest of your night, and of course, amazing weekend. And yeah, definitely follow us online, because we'll let you know when we have more amazing sessions coming up before the end of the school year. All right.
Thanks, Sean. Good night, everybody.